Thou wilt prolong the king's life, and his years as many generations. Psalm 61, verse 6. The King David references here is himself. He has been speaking throughout this psalm as a man overwhelmed, asking to be led to a rock higher than himself. Now he speaks of the king as though stepping outside his own situation and viewing it from God's vantage point. The prayer is for prolonged life. The word prolong means to add to extend beyond what is natural or expected. David is not asking to survive the current crisis. He is asking for years that stretch across generations. The phrase, his years as many generations, is not hyperbole for a long life. It points to something more than biological longevity. No man lives for many generations in the ordinary sense. David is reaching toward a promise that extends beyond himself. The New Testament makes this connection clear. Acts 2 verse 30 clarifies that David's royal prayers carry messianic significance. When David prays for the king's life to be prolonged across generations, he is praying toward the Son of David whose kingdom has no end. This does not strip the verse of its immediate meaning. David is a king in danger, and he prays for his own preservation. God answers that prayer. David lives, rules, and dies in old age. But the prayer carries more than David grasps. The Spirit moves him to pray beyond his own life toward the one whose throne endures forever. He shall abide before God forever. O prepare mercy and truth, which may preserve him. Psalm 61, verse 7. The verse opens with a declaration. He shall abide before God forever. Abide connects back to verse 4, where David declared, I will abide in thy tabernacle forever. This is not a statement about earthly longevity, but about the king's standing in God's presence. To abide before God is to remain in his favor, under his care. The phrase before God carries covenantal weight. In the Old Testament, to stand or abide before God meant to serve in his presence, to be accepted and acknowledged by him. David's confidence is that the king's position before God is not temporary or conditional based on perfect performance. It is a settled standing rooted in God's own commitment. O prepare mercy and truth, which may preserve him. David calls on two of God's most foundational attributes, mercy and truth. They appear together throughout the Psalms and represent the twin pillars of God's covenant faithfulness. Mercy is his loving kindness, his steadfast commitment to those he has chosen. Truth is his faithfulness, his absolute reliability to keep every word he has spoken. David asks God to appoint these two as the king's guardians, the forces that stand watch over the king's life and reign. The word prepare means to appoint or ordain, to commission something for a specific task. David is not asking God to show a little kindness. He petitioned God to station his mercy and truth as permanent protectors assigned to the king's preservation. The king survives not because of his own strength, but because God's mercy and truth stand guard.